What if I told you the world you know is a lie? What if I then told you there's a way to turn this booster pack into $50,000? And I'm about to show you how. But before we do that, we are going to be discussing the world record-breaking sale that just broke $50,000, how that affects the Pokemon market as a whole, whether you're just collecting or investing. And to be honest, it's pretty frightening. Now, let me show you how to make $50,000. And I'm about to show you how. But for real this time, last pack magic. This bad boy is the Mega Charizard X EX Special Illustration Rare number 125 from the brand new Pokemon set Phantasmal Flames. And yes, it just sold on eBay for $54,100. Now, what makes this card so special? Well, nothing. This is a piece of paper. But this card actually pulled from a real Pokemon pack, graded a BGS Black Label 10 is what makes it so special. This card raw goes for about $800. In a PSA 10, it goes for about $2,500. But in a BGS 10 Black Label, it goes for over $50,000. Hello? Wait, what? You're telling me a major doofus just spent $55,000 on a hypermodern Pokemon card that only came out 4 months ago? Again?
Yes, again.
So why the 20x price jump? This isn't just any old 10. This is a BGS Black Label 10. And the reason for that is that BGS has the most strict guidelines for awarding the Black Label. If you don't know, there are different labels or grades that you can get within the 10 category at BGS or Beckett. Most people know about PSA, it's the most popular grading company, and there's just 10s, that's it. PSA Gem Mint 10, there's no subgrades to it, there's no other factors about it, it's just you either get a 10 or you get a 9. Back in the day, you used to even be able to get half grades, like 8.5 or 9.5, whereas now they've pretty much done away with that altogether. So at Beckett, you have 3 different levels of Mint 10 grades possible. The first level and the easiest to get is the Gem Mint 10. After that, you also have the Pristine 10, which is the gold label. And then the top tier grade, the absolute most difficult one that you can possibly obtain, is the Black Label, which means that all 4 subgrades equal a 10. Those being centering, surface, edges, and corners. If they are 9.5 or any combination thereof less than all 4 10s, you will get a gold label or less. The grading equivalent of Clavicular's cheekbones after he's been bone smashing all morning. The BGS Black Label is the most difficult and highly revered grade in the entire card grading industry. Out of the total 23,000 Charizard X EX SIRs graded, man, we really need a special name for this card. Only 23 Charizards have actually obtained the BGS Black Label. That is a 0.1% chance of grading a Black Label on a card that already has a pull rate of 0.2%. That means you would have a 1 in 40 million chance of pulling the Triple Zard and grading it a BGS Black Label 10. So you are less likely to have this card in a Black Label than you are winning the lottery. No, not really. You thought I was serious? It's the lottery, dude. That's like $300 million. Of course that's gonna be more difficult than pulling a Charizard. Keep up. All right, so let's just take a look at this sale. It happened on eBay. It ended March 28th, so just a few days ago from when I'm recording this. And the winning bid purchased it for $54,100 with a $4.99 shipping charge. You cannot let them have the free shipping, not even for this. Okay, but hold on, fake sales happen all the time. How do we know this sale is actually real? Like I said, people fake sales on eBay, TCG Player all the time, trying to drive prices up, increase demand for cards they're already holding. So how do we know this sale is legitimate? Well, if we jump back in here to the bid history, we can see while eBay does not disclose usernames or who actually bought the cards for privacy reasons, of course, it does give us some indicators on who was bidding on this item. And for the last several bids, above 41,000, there were just 2 people bidding it up, which might seem suspicious to some of you, but is very common, especially for high-end items like this. In order for a card to get to this price, you need at least 2 people bidding it up, increasing the price to that $54,000 level. But you can also see right down here at 41,000, there was a 3rd bidder in the race. So even up to $41,000, there were 3 people bidding. Now, usually what you have when someone is shill bidding an item, which just means they're essentially bidding on their own item, or they get their friend to bid on their item and they just increase the price, whether it's for exposure or fame, or that they're actually trying to shill bid up another real potential buyer. This is very uncommon to see with 3 bidders. And if you keep scrolling down, we can see that it's mostly these 3 bidders going back and forth until $35,000, where we get an additional bidder. So there are a decent number of bidders even above the $30,000 mark. Those are all good signs that this is actually a legitimate sale. The second factor is who sold the card. And as you can see here, the seller of the card was Top Notch Sports Club, which is somebody I've never heard of before, but they have 252,000 items sold, 100% positive feedback, 11,000 followers, all again, good signs that this is quite a legitimate and high-end seller. So that's another factor that lends me to believe that this is a real legitimate sale. And this isn't even the first sale over $50,000. If this were just a one-off sale, then I would naturally assume the same, a hoax, bamboozlement, the lizard people. It's the lizard people again? All right, I'll get my bet. So we can see here, according to Wargamer, this may sound like a ridiculous one-off lightning in a bottle sale, but I don't actually think that's the case. There's reportedly a population of 23, and one sold in January to the tune of $50,000. Now, quick caveat here, I haven't actually been able to locate this sale. So it may have been a private sale or a sale that then got unlisted for whatever reason. Maybe it didn't actually go through. I'm not really sure. But we can also see here, and I know this part is true, the Japanese version of the card goes for between $12,000 to $15,000 on eBay, and that's for the Japanese card alone. So with potential previous confirmed sales over $50,000, the Japanese card selling for $15,000 plus, it adds a lot of credence to this newest sale. So while there's no way to know for sure, it could just as easily be Logan Paul and Ken Golden bidding each other up in the biggest, sickest, wettest shill bidding battle of the century. It's probably not. This sale appears to be legitimate. So we've discussed what a BGS Black Label even is and what exactly the context is around the sale of this card. But first I want to talk about why this is happening before we get into what that means for the Pokemon market, whether you're just collecting or investing. So let's talk about why this is happening to this card and why right now. This card is really special. Everybody online pretty much unanimously agrees this is the best Charizard art that we've ever had. I am a certified Unk. I've been collecting since the 90s, and I completely agree. We've never had a Charizard art this good. I mean, if you just look at all of these other Charizard arts, there are some beautiful Charizard cards. And there's definitely some runner-ups and arguments to be made for other cards that are also really good. And of course, many of them drive with a lot of nostalgia because Charizard is easily the most popular Pokemon and has been the most popular for the better part of 30 years. But this art is just absolutely amazing. The art style, the colors, you've got the Mega Charizard, you got the regular Charizard, Charmeleon, Charmander, Everything about it is a 10. This card is just perfect. And the set Phantasmal Flames really doesn't have a lot else going for it. It's pretty much just the Charizard, which is kind of a joke in the Pokemon community that, oh, here's the Pokemon company. They're just gonna release a basic, boring set, just throw a Charizard in there and expect it to do well. And oftentimes they tank in the short term. A lot of people don't want them. Things like Obsidian Flames or the Charizard UPC, people just kind of get sick of the same, just throw Charizard in there and people will buy it. But this set is a little different. It's not doing the same thing. And the only reason for that I can see is the Charizard SIR is so good. So the other thing that many of you are probably struggling with is that product is extremely scarce. Finding booster packs or booster boxes or collection boxes or really anything of any of the popular sets especially is nigh impossible, at least here in the United States. Everything is incredibly scarce as your dad when it's time to come home from picking up the milk. And especially the booster boxes, but that's kind of a long story and I already covered it recently in a video I just did. You can check it out here if that interests you. So the other way that we can kind of answer, is this price going to stick and why is this happening now? Obviously the Pokemon market is just exploding and has been exploding for 2 years. But another kind of confirmation factor about this price is this here. All right, so if you just take a look at my notes here. So this English BGS Black Label, the Charizard, is now trading at a 3.5 to 4x premium over the exact same Japanese version. Okay, that doesn't tell us a whole lot unless we look at other cards. So Japanese Black Labels of this card top out around 12 to 15K. All right, so this isn't even the craziest English premium out there. Take the Prismatic Evolutions Umbreon, EXSIR, the BGS 10 Black Label is currently trading at 25,000 to 29,000. Again, that's for the English version. And the Japanese is only 4 to 7,000. That's a 4x to 6x premium. And that's just because it says English on the bottom. But actually, I think there's a little bit more to it than that. Again, these are just my notes. But part of it is also, at what rate do the English cards grade a 10? That's an important factor here that I didn't put in my notes, is that English cards typically have a much more difficult time grading a 10, especially a Black Label 10. The Japanese cards are just produced much better. They have higher quality and their just quality control is just a lot better than the English equivalent. So English cards have a much harder time grading as 10s, and especially, like I said, the Black Label. And then lastly, even non-Charizard heavy hitters or Umbreon, like the Ascended Heroes Mew, EXSIR, or Rayquaza are showing 2.5 to 4.5x English premiums on the Black Labels. So Japanese versions of these Chase SIRs are consistently 60 to 75% cheaper. So right there at the end, again, 2.5 to 4.5x, that's similar to what we're seeing with the Charizard, which is 3.5 to 4x. So it's really about in line with what the Japanese equivalents are selling for. All right, so what does this mean for the collecting and investing market? Well, to be honest, it kind of scares me. But I talk about this, a lot of other Pokemon content creators and investors talk about the market in a way that it's just something, when you've been doing it a long time, that you start to feel. You can just sense when things are off. I've been watching the market for 12 years now, following prices, seeing trends, seeing what people are talking about, and you just start to go, things feel weird. And a card that's only 4.5 months old, even though it is pretty objectively the best Charizard art that we've ever gotten, even with that, a 4-month-old card selling for $55,000, I don't know what to make of that. That's insane to me. All I can keep thinking and hearing in my head is just screaming, top signal, top signal. And of course, I don't know if that's true. I have reasons to believe that this will probably continue through the rest of 2026. I think if we see a massive correction or crash, it's not gonna be until 2027 and likely late 2027, if at all. Who knows? Maybe this is the new norm. But one thing I do know, since I've been around for now, this being my 3rd boom and bust cycle, well, we've yet to get to the bust part of this cycle, but 3 market cycles in general, I know that when insane sales like this start happening, when random old WotC common cards start selling for $40, $50, $100 raw, and then you also have the verbiage that everyone's using. Like just in the past couple weeks, I started hearing on YouTube, all these content creators really adopting the phrase, the new norm. And when people start saying that, all of those factors to me just scream top signal. You guys can check out all my other videos I go over all this stuff, what I actually think is going to happen with my history in the hobby and investing. Like I said, I've been watching the market a long time, and I usually am right about what I think is going to happen. And I'll just give it to you guys straight. What do I think is going to happen? Well, this sale does make me nervous, but I don't think it's going to crash the market, at least not yet. Anything could happen. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I think going into 2027, when we start out with the new block, with new Pokemon, a new generation of Pokemon, people generally don't like that. They always hate whatever the newest gen is. So when that happens, and then you also have this 1.4 million square foot printing facility that's supposed to be coming online sometime in 2027, it's probably not really going to start affecting the market, like I said, until late 27. And then of course you also have the 30th anniversary this year, which everybody is expecting to explode the market, and I do too, but I expect most of that explosion to actually happen before, because that's gonna be in the fall. So I think we're gonna have massive run-ups till then, and probably flatline, and then somewhere in 2027, I'm expecting some level of a crash or correction. Now, of course, I'm still a Pokemon investor, and I'm still buying and selling cards regularly. So clearly, over the long term, I don't think it's gonna matter. I'm just speaking in the short term. So that's kind of what I think about the investing side. While I do think this sale kind of solidifies Pokemon as just this luxury asset, it does make me a little bit nervous, but at the same time, I think it's great. I think Pokemon is doing great, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. Pokemon has passed that generational gap. My generation, the first generation to get into Pokemon, the slightly older generation than me, the generation in between me and my kids, all 4 separate generations. You've got X, Millennial, Zoomers, and Alpha, all love Pokemon. It's not gonna end anytime soon. So that's about it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and you can check out all my other videos. This is all I talk about: Pokemon card collecting, investing, and news that happens in the Pokemon space that might affect us as collectors and investors. So check out my other videos. Peace.